Hello and welcome to a bit of a throwback video. Today we are going to go through the comments that the Saracen Hearld makes in the first Assassin's Creed game. He's my favorite. Hopefully he'll be yours too. Let's hear this magnificent man's voice.
Be wary, friends! The Shayṭān is everywhere! Watching, waiting! He tempts us always! Be strong! Strong like Salāḥ, and take up arms against our enemies in whatever way you can!
A clear warning to the people of Jerusalem. The word Shayṭān can refer to either the devil or evil spirits in Islam that incite humans to sin through whispering to their hearts. The latter are apparently grotesque creatures created from hellfire, which is wild. The speaker's trying to warn the people that, in these difficult times, the temptation to sin or to convert or give in to the Crusaders is everywhere, and instead of doing so, people should look to Salāḥ, the leader of the Saracens, as inspiration and persevere.
South comes the English king and his infidel army. They leave horrors in their wake. Salāḥ rides to meet him, that these barbarous acts might be avenged. Pray that God, glorious and exalted is he, finds favor with us, that he may grant us victory.
King Richard the Lionheart, whom I've incorrectly labeled as the third at times, he's actually the first, launched his campaign to retake the Holy Land in the late 1180s, but actually conquered Cyprus, the massive island to the northwest of the Holy Land, first. His conquest of this area meant that it would serve as a Christian stronghold until 1570. From here, he landed and joined in the siege of Acre in June of 1191, and after this city's capture, Richard did in fact head south, so this herald is right. And he did in fact leave horrors in his wake. What our Saracen Herald is talking about is a massacre when, after negotiations had stalled between Saladin and Richard, the latter had over 2,000 Turkish hostages publicly executed. Saladin's riding to meet Richard, mentioned in this message, must be the Battle of Arsuf, which occurred 30 miles north of Jaffa on the 7th of September in 1191. Now nobody tell this herald that battle was actually a significant victory for the Crusaders. I think it'll break his heart.
Curse him! Curse the Christian king and his army of infidels! They go against the will of God and must be made to pay! Everywhere they ride, they leave only suffering in their wake. They say it is a crusade. A crusade for what? Ignorance? Violence? Madness? We must resist. We must fight them in any way we can.
Go off, dude. Obviously, the Saracens would label Richard and the Crusaders as infidels, but what is interesting here is the commentary about the word crusade. Taking the reasons out of it, the Third Crusade for people who inhabited the Holy Land was a nightmare. It's hard to quantify the exact casualties, but estimates start in the thousands for this particular conflict and then stretch into the millions across all of the different crusades. So it would absolutely make sense to hear this message. Though the people at the time, they already know. They're living it, dude. It's terrible.
I stand before you to deliver a warning. Should Richard take Jaffa, there will be no stopping him. He will march on Jerusalem next. We must end this before it has a chance to begin. That city is ours, has always been ours. And it is our duty to defend it until death. The Crusaders must be destroyed.
Again, don't tell this guy anything about what I'm about to say, but Richard does take Jaffa. After the Battle of Arsuf, Richard takes that city and establishes his headquarters there, and he has every right to fear that Richard would then threaten Jerusalem, because that is exactly what happened. The Battle of Arsuf changed the landscape of the Holy Land for this entire crusade. It put the Saracens on the defensive, forcing Saladin to attempt to retake Jaffa, and this city became the main battleground, leaving the other areas along the coast to remain in Crusader control and prevent the Saracens from retaking any major cities. Fortunately for our herald, the Crusaders and Saladin came to an agreement to end the conflict without transferring control of Jerusalem. But his fears are absolutely in line with those of the people at the time and within the city.
The fires of war consume the land, and thousands of lives are lost in its defense. It seems a tragedy, but I say this is an honor, to die in service to God, fighting for what we believe in. There is no greater glory than this.
Already hit on this, but to summarize, a lot of people died. Many of them thought they were fighting for their God and their cause, and inspired others to do so, but in general, this conflict just meant horrible times for anyone on either side. And that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video, and check back next time for more Assassin's Creed content.